I did it. Finally. Yeah, 13 yards. just crushed an 8-pointer. He's dead in front of me. Okay. He worked. No. I blew his heart out at 10 yards. Solid 8-pointer. Probably 3.5-year-old, but oh my god. He literally came out at like 10 yards and then died on the other side of the corn. Holy shit. Alright, I'll see you in a little bit. Bye. You. You get out of here. It's not as big as I thought. Hey, I did it. Finally. Yep. Just got deer blowing at me everywhere now too. But I'll call you later and tell you the whole story. Alright. I'll see you later. Alright, bye. Yeah, 13 yards. Dude, when I looked up and saw him, first of all, he came from behind me, and I just poked my head up, and I was like, all I saw was antlers. I was like, oh, I'm shooting this deer. And he was about to come from behind the brush, and I was going to full draw. I thought he got me, but he kept going, and I mean, he came out at less than 15 yards. And I literally just, he was about to, like, I didn't know if he was going to stop, and I just gave him 12 yards. He slowed down, and by that point I was already so settled, I sent it through his heart. He barely made it to the other side of the field.
Alright, so as you can see, it's the next day. Got a little involved in the excitement of things. I never really made the finishing portion of the video. I was just filled with so much excitement that everything went out the window. I'm really glad that I was wearing that GoPro on my head, because this is something that I would have really been kicking myself if I hadn't gotten any footage whatsoever. And I almost didn't put my GoPro on my head. I almost just completely ignored it. And it's not that I didn't think I'd see anything, it's just that, I've had a run of just not shooting anything, and so I had low expectations, and I knew I wouldn't shoot a doe. I'm sure people say this quite often, when they harvest the animal. People won't really know how much this deer really means to me personally. Is he the biggest deer in the world? Absolutely not. Is he the biggest deer I've ever shot? No. Is he the biggest so far with my bow? Yes, because it's the first one I've shot with my bow. And it has been an absolute journey to get to this moment. I'm very grateful for the people that I've met in the last couple years who have continued to push me and to help me get to this moment. I specifically want to thank Dane, but he has really been the person that's got me back into bow hunting. I've deer hunted since I was a little kid, and I've done a little bit of bow hunting, but never had great success. Never really stumbled across anything, public or private that was worth my time. I think before I met Dane, I had shot one deer with my bow, and that was it. And when I met him a few years ago, we started turkey hunting together, and when I started turkey hunting with him, he told me about all the deer on his property. I was like, well, do you care if I bow hunt with you? It's something I've always wanted to get back into, and he was all about it. He's helped me through this whole process of trying to get to this moment, trying to get to where I harvest a deer with my bow. Last year was the first year that I started hardcore bow hunting again, and it's always been a goal of mine to shoot a buck with my bow, and I shot a couple of does last year, and I had deer on camera. Ended up the deer that I was chasing really, really hard last year with my bow. I don't know if he died of VHD or the coyotes got him, or some other disease or something, but I ended up finding him as a dead head in November. And then I also had just an absolute brutal situation last year I had a situation last year where I did shoot a buck and, had great blood, had everything, gave him plenty of time, and I don't know what happened, but blood ended up drying up and we never found him. It's been a real mystery to all of us. We can't really decide what happened because, based on the blood that we got, I definitely hit at least one lung, if not both, and the deer just either never died or we just were never able to recover it. And I walked the tree line that I shot that deer in. It's probably a mile long, and I put on 6 miles going back and forth through that tree line, but never found that deer. So this year, it's all been, I practiced a ton and a ton and a ton. And, I've been shooting my bow and trying my hardest. Last night finally worked out. And I get it. I'll gladly hold this deer in front of you and let all of you judge me on how small it is. But I don't care. I've passed a lot of other smaller deer. I've even passed a couple deer bigger than this. But after almost 2 years of trying with my bow, probably 80 plus sits in a tree stand, hundreds of hours, putting in food plots, hanging stands, doing trail cameras, predator management, just doing what we could to get to this moment. I don't really care right now. I understand why people like shooting them with bows so much. I understand why people like to get on the ground and shoot them with bows. Because when a deer walks up on you at 15 yards and kind of scares the crap out of you, you just go full. You're a loss. The amount of adrenaline that was pumping through my body last night when I drove home, I told my parents, I stopped over to show my dad the deer. As I was driving home, I was exhausted, and I didn't really do anything. I didn't have to drag the deer out because Dane drove the gator right to it. He dropped me off. I mean, it's the perks of hunting private land, and I've hunted public land most of my life, so I'm not going to complain about those guys that work. Heck, I shot a doe with my rifle during rifle season that I was almost 2 miles back, so I know what it's like to work for a deer, but with how little I worked last night to shoot this deer, I was exhausted. Just exhausted. And that's just from that adrenaline that pumps through your body. And I've never, I've shot a couple does with the bow, but I've never felt that with a buck. And boy, howdy, does it just get you going. And, I was hooked beforehand, but killing them with a bow, 2 years of work, and now I'm here. I mean, I'll do it again and again and again.